Hello, welcome to the Week 5 lecture. As you can see, we are not in the auditorium. I hope you are sitting comfortably, so we will begin. This week's lecture is about the SWOT report, but I want to focus on threats and opportunities. Now, I want to get through this quite quickly because it's online, so I'm going to go through the slides quite quickly, but feel free to pause the video anytime you want to catch up and read what's on the slides. Okay. So in order to explain the threats and opportunities of the SWOT analysis, I'm going to refer to another management tool that's called Porter's 5 Forces. You might have come across it in your readings or you might not. So this is what they look like. These are Porter's 5 Forces. You can pause the video to read them if you want to. As you can see, the word threat comes up. When we think of threats, we think of external forces. Okay, so Porter's 5 forces are 5 external forces that operate on a business. In a SWOT grid, we would call them threats or maybe opportunities. Opportunities and threats, these are external forces, the same as Porter's 5 forces. So we've seen the list of what they look like, but this is what it looks like in an infographic. I googled Porter's 5 forces infographic, and this image came up a lot. And it's a very good description of the 5 forces. In the middle you can see industrial rivalry. That's competition. That's other businesses doing the same thing that you're doing, looking for the same customers that you're looking for. And on that vertical axis is more competition. At the top is the threat of entry. This is the threat of newcomers to the industry. So this is an external force. This is people that haven't opened businesses yet, but when it's clear that a certain style of business is doing well, then other people want to copy that success. So if you have a successful business, it is likely that people will try and copy your business. And underneath there is the threat of substitutes. These are other businesses that offer very similar, not the same, but similar services to your business. And your customers could easily go to one or the other of these types of services. On the horizontal axis from left to right, we can see the relationship between suppliers, the business, and buyers and the business. So we have the buying power of the suppliers on the left and the buying power of the customers on the right. So with a business, who sets the price? The customer or the business? When the business is buying from suppliers, how available are the supplies? How easy to get? How do you negotiate a price? So these are the 5 forces that Porter is talking about, 5 external forces that are used to analyze a business's current situation, looking at the competitive forces around it. Here they are again, the 5 forces. Now, they keep popping up in a list. You don't have to memorize the list. You don't have to write about Porter's 5 forces in your report. I'm just telling you this to help you conceptualize threats in a more comprehensive way. So don't worry about memorizing, just think about understanding the main points. The Starbucks case study that we read that had a SWOT analysis in it, that referred to the Porter's 5 forces. I'm not sure if you followed it up, but if we look at Starbucks in relation to Porter's 5 forces, we can see that as far as rivalry goes, Starbucks is a coffee shop, and coffee shop business is it's a very busy industry. There's a lot of competition. Customer bargaining power. When customers go to Starbucks, how much power do they have over the negotiation for the price? I think not any, sorry. They just pay the menu price and that's it. And the suppliers, what's the relationship? does Starbucks have with the suppliers? Who's the boss? Starbucks or the supplier? How many other coffee shops are going to open up around? How many other international chains with worldwide branding are going to open up in the Starbucks neighborhood, do you think? That's one of the forces. And the last force is the threat of substitutes. So what other things can people do when they want to go out and meet friends or go out and wait for somebody? They could go to a coffee shop, or they could go to some other kind of business, other kind of entertainment. That would be a substitute product or service. In the 5 forces model, these forces are measured from high force through to moderate and low force. So if something is high force, we could safely call it a threat. And in the Starbucks situation, rivalry, competition, that's high force. There are a lot of coffee shops around. And if we were putting this on a SWOT grid in the threats quadrant, we would write competition, that's a threat. Customer bargaining power, supplier bargaining power, threats of new entrants, these are not really threats. They could even be opportunities. Customers don't bargain the price at Starbucks. Starbucks writes the price on the menu and people pay that. But Starbucks does offer a loyalty card with a discount. Customers might think that they have some bargaining power there, but really Starbucks is locking them in to future purchases. So that's an opportunity maybe. It is an external force, okay? New entrants, how many worldwide international brand with global marketing reach are going to open up around your local Starbucks? Not many. It takes a long time to get to that level of business, so Starbucks is not going to be elbowed out by another giant yet. Substitutes, as we have said, are threats. Threat of new entrants, it's not a threat, but I don't think it's an opportunity either. It is, however, an external force, and threats and opportunities are also external forces. Here they are again, I don't know why they keep popping up. So I've taken the questions from the Google Doc where you submitted questions for the Q&A with Ms. SJ, and I looked for questions that were focused on external forces, right? External forces, that's threats and weaknesses, and if you think about Porter's 5 forces, they are also external. So this helps you to differentiate between what is external and what is internal. If it's not internal, it's not a threat, and it's not an opportunity. So these questions are about external factors, okay? Do you think you can match them in some way to Porter's 5 forces? Which question addresses which force, do you think? Pause the video for a few seconds while you figure it out. Okay, so you've probably figured it out that it's not that easy, right? One Q&A question does not match neatly to one Porter's force, but there is quite a bit of crossover actually. So we can see that the questions deal mostly with the forces that are numbered 1, 4 and 5. And these are all about competition, right? Rivalry, substitute products, new entrants. So the students seem to be identifying threats, external forces that are in the area of competition. So competition has been identified as a major threat by a lot of students in the Q&A activity. So if it was a Porter's model, which it's not, but if it were, we would say that rivalry and substitute products and services were high force. These are threats, okay? So we would describe these in the SWOT grid as threats. The other things, they would either be opportunities or not threats, at least. I am not telling you this because I want you to replicate Porter's 5 forces in your report. We do not want that, but we do want you to compartmentalize a little bit, understand a little bit what makes up a threat, what are the different factors involved in threats and opportunities. And there's one last factor I want to talk about with Porter's 5 forces. Porter's 5 forces are said to describe the micro-environment in the business world. So the business micro-environment. What is the micro-environment? The micro-environment is actually Porter's 5 forces. So it's the competition with other businesses doing the same thing as you. It's potential competition from other businesses that will want to come in and take some of the pie. It is the relationship with customers and with suppliers. It's about people offering similar products as well that could entice your customers away. This is known as the micro-environment. Now, if there's a micro-environment, it stands to reason there's also going to be a micro-environment. So another external force we could understand as the macro environment. And this is not the local level, not the neighborhood level. Maybe you can think of the micro environment as the local business neighborhood with neighbor businesses that are doing the same thing, customers and suppliers that you deal with regularly, potential threats that might come in, and others offering similar services around you. That's the local neighborhood in the micro environment. Now we're in the macro environment. This is about technology and economics. If, for example, you are in the retail trade, you are going to want to get on top of the online technology right now, aren't you? So technology, economy, what sort of economic structure is the country that you're based in? What about your competitors? Can your customers, do they have a lot of spare money? Is there like a large middle class? All this kind of thing. Legal and political issues, laws, taxes, these affect businesses. The socio-cultural and demographic factors, these are external forces about the population, about the culture, about the way people do things in that area. Is your business culturally or socially appropriate? Will people support it? Are there enough people in your customer base, the demographic? So what about that old people's home? Should I invest? Aren't all the old people dying off? Are there enough old people? What about a school or a college? Should I invest in that? Are there enough new young people coming? Demographics. The demographic data tells us a lot about the forces around us. And of course, the global arena, we have seen firsthand how the COVID-19 has affected all the businesses around us. So these are the factors in the macro environment. So when you're thinking about your threats, think about them. Are they micro environment? Are they Porter's 5 forces? Are they macro environment? Are they bigger than the local community? And if you can categorize your external factors, your threats and opportunities in this way, you will know a little bit more about them. You'll be a little bit more clear about what they are, and I'm sure that will help you write about them in a more comprehensive and clear, easy to understand way. So please don't be confused by this. If you do have any questions, you can put them in the comments below and I will answer them. Any follow-up questions or anything you didn't understand, feel free, put as many questions as you like in the comments and I will answer them. Thank you very much for listening to the lecture. Here's a little brief summary, micro and macro, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.